Hello, everybody, and welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to another episode. We've been a bit slow, and that's because I had a bit of a scare with some cold and cough, like pretty much everybody, I guess, at this point. But anyway, fully recovered from the cold at least. But I've got my peppermint tea, I've got my cherry halls here to keep me company. So if you hear me screaming or squeezing too much, I'll probably pop one of those. But anyway, we're gonna do today's show. It's gonna be about the transfer window review sort of show, and also looking at the preview for deadline day, because I mean that's coming up tomorrow, and that would be interesting to watch. Well, tomorrow or today, depending on what time you're watching this. Because the recording does take a while. It is pre-recorded, so by the time we talk about stuff, it's possible things have already happened because things are moving while we're live. We've already got some breaking news coming through as well, which we'll talk about. But joining me on the show today, we've got Knayha back on the show. Knayha, welcome once again.
Thanks, Rohit. Thanks for having me.
Yes, nice to have you. First show of 2022, as well as first show of 2022 for Saahil as well. Saahil, welcome to the show as well.
Hey, Rohit. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm a little bit somber, a little bit sad, because we heard the news about Mason Greenwood, and it is kind of sad the reports that have come out, and we will address it in broader detail going forward. We'll do a separate show about that at some point. This maybe today, maybe tomorrow, depending on people availability. We'll probably do a different show about that. But I feel we don't want to sweep it under the rug, and we don't want to ignore it. So we should address it in this. And I mean, we hear the stories all the time. I mean, I put a post about this as well. I don't think and there's so many different aspects to it that you can kind of get into. But I mean, it's Saahil. I mean, it's just it's incredible how people sometimes react to it. But is this an individual problem? Is this a societal problem? Is this a football problem? And what is the reason that these things keep continuing to happen, and people think that that they can do this stuff, or that they can get away with it?
I mean, I think it's a problem for all three, right? Like it can be like depending on how the individual is. The football industry probably like gives some players a lot of ego to think that they can get away with everything because of the money and the social status. But it's also a societal problem because like domestic violence has never really gone away from society. It's always been there. So, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's really concerning. Like, I don't know if the players have been trained enough in in terms of how sexual consent works, how like what are the implications of domestic violence. So yeah, there's a lot of questions to ask. They'll probably be answered, I guess, in the next week. So don't want to speak too much beforehand in case something like we don't know comes up. But yeah, very very concerning, and gotta pray for the girls' safety and well-being.
Yeah, I mean, sorry about that. I actually just choked on my drink there, which was the worst possible time to have that. I mean, it's again, to your point, Silent, it's a very good point about being all three issues. This is, I mean, the girl, I mean, I feel bad for her because her life's never going to be the same again. No matter what comes out of this, whether she gets justice, whether she doesn't get justice, whether there is any kind of reparations that are made, whatever. I mean, people think, well, that it will be all okay. It won't be. I mean, her life is probably never going to be the same again. It's definitely never going to be the same again. It might, we don't know what's going to happen with her. But I mean, I don't even want to talk about, Greenwood, because I don't think it matters. It doesn't matter what he is, whether he's a United player, whether he's a talented youngster, whatever. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, what he's done is wrong. But I mean, this is again an issue because we think about this, and I actually thought about this. Even if I don't know what his salary is, I don't claim to know that. But even young players who earn maybe £10,000 a week, which is considered kind of like a low salary in football, you're talking £40,000 a month. I don't earn £40,000 a month, and I'm so old. I mean, Saahil probably is younger than that. Maybe he earns that much, maybe. But but the bigger issue. No, but the bigger issue, I mean, I joke about it, but the bigger issue is that you're earning that kind of money at an age where you don't know what to do with it. You have no idea. And I mean, is there something, and I don't claim to know the answers, but is there something that FIFA could do, UEFA could do, whoever, somebody could do to kind of educate these people about, because when you have money, you have people who are around you who, want to leech off of that. You don't always have the best advisors. You have people who probably, you probably feel invincible because you have that money that you don't know what to do with. Is there some kind of education program that maybe, the footballing management at large can probably institute, or something that can be changed? Because it is kind of sad. It is difficult. I mean, at the end of the day, Mason is a kid, and we have to kind of, I'm not trying to justify what he did, but at the end of the day, he is a kid, and he needed that guidance, which he didn't get, obviously. Is there something that can be done to prevent this in the future?
I definitely agree with that, but it's also the fact that we're not like earlier. We used to have managers who were like players would kind of be like their fatherly figures. They would kind of guide them in a way. they will help them on along, like how the youngsters need to really come out of it. Like, what do they really need to focus on? Like if you like, the best example, if you go to what Cristiano Ronaldo always says about Sir Alex Ferguson, like he was a father to him. It was more like a father figure who would kind of help him with everything, like what he should do, what he should not do, stick to it, and kind of, and like it's gone. Like that feeling of football having that connect, you don't really see it, because you don't see really managers putting that extra. Like, I'm not saying the managers are bad, I'm not saying that, I'm just trying to say the whole, it's too financially driven now. It's too about money. It's about who gets the most, what are the, it's a more about lifestyle now. It's not about how you are, what you're actually doing. Like, and that's the sad part. I really don't, it's, Greenwood is one off. Like, go with what happened with Harry Maguire, and then you think about what happened to Jack Grealish and Phil Foden before, and then disciplinary action stuff. And you do keep hearing these things now and then. Mendy is a different case altogether. He's accused, and there's a case going on, and City has totally dropped him. But I'm just trying to say that it's no longer a much a human to human, because the way it's kind of blown out of proportion. Like right now, you don't really know what happened. Like, again, I'm not saying, I'm not defending Greenwood. I'm not saying what, but I also don't know the whole picture right now. Yeah. We just have an audio. It's awful. It's disgusting. And we have the images, which is just shocking.
Yeah.
Like, but then I want to know what's the story around it. And I'm saying it's just also because, you're not seeing managers or players to have that kind of a entourage along with them, who kinds of keeps them grounded. You're just kind of seeing them having flashy lifestyles, crazy following. Everything they do or say is kind of loved or criticized in a way, and then they feed off it as well. It's not like they don't like it, that they want to. And 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 the best thing is, like, these players come from like really humble beginnings. They've had nothing, like when they were 8 or 9 or 10 or 11, when they get found. And when they just, and that's the foundation. That's where you kind of need to build the fact that, when you're there, when you're actually playing for Manchester United, what does that really mean for you?
Well, like in general, right? When you're playing,
and so on, and in general, exactly, for anybody, like in life, like as a human.
And I mean, we'll obviously talk about this in a lot of detail going, in a little while. I think I do want to mention that at the moment, these are just allegations, accusations. I mean, there is innocent until proven guilty. So we'll wait for more facts to come out. It is looking not so good for anybody at this point, but we will keep you updated as we know more as well. I mean, as I said, this is pre-recorded, so by the time this comes out, we may have more information. But at this point, what we have are the photos, we have the audio, and we have a statement just released by the lady's father. So we're going off of that, but we'll get more details.
And also, Manchester United has dropped a statement saying that he will not train for the time being.
Yeah. For the moment, he's been pushed out of training. I mean, yes, that's the same. I was just talking about the updates that we have so far on the story itself. But it is developing, and we will know more. But yeah, there will be some knock-on effects, unfortunately, and we're going to bring it back to the football now, because I mean, the one thing's not. I mean, that is a very depressing thing, but there are other even slightly less, but still depressing things that are happening in the world of football. But we'll start off with this January transfer show. I mean, we'll start off with the biggest deal of the January transfer window for me. Knayha, I mean, Dusan Vlahovic to Juventus. Someone from Fiorentina. I mean, he was linked with Arsenal. He was linked with a few other clubs. But I mean, it is, it's almost like if you're a good player in Serie A, you get taken by, Juventus have to have an interest. But they signed him. Is it a fairly priced deal? Do you think they paid a bit more? What do you think that's going to be mean for you?
I think Juventus will sell him for much more when he kind of proves his worth. Manchester City or Manchester United, if they don't get a striker, like they're on a hunt. Like, so the Manchester City is on a hunt. I think they're in talks with Alvarez, I think, and he's also, that's already done. So that's, but then they need I think they might. Exactly. So they might need a bigger player, and sometimes I think this was, I would say this is more of a lateral move in the same Serie, but then it doesn't kind of go. Of course, I'm not saying Fiorentina and Juventus are the same level, but I'm trying to say that they will, like, Premier League is the most like the fans, everything is this bigger. But Dusan Vlahovic signing for around 70 million pounds, with total deal being around, it's around 91.6 if I'm not wrong. So, but then it's fair amount. He's a goal scorer. He knows, he will score goals for Juventus. Juventus wants that. They're looking at, replacing, obviously, looking at Morata kind of being their goal scorer. They need a poacher. They need somebody who can get goals, and they can get to the winning ways. It's also like he takes the number 7 shirt, which is kind of coming, again, if you say the CR7 way, and he kind of fills those shoes. It's a good deal for them, I would say. Of course, the big losers are Arsenal, who tried their. I really don't know how hard they tried.
I mean,
but then
it never looked like an
almost.
Arsenal type of deal, though. It never looked like the kind of deal that Arsenal do.
But that's never. It's a transfer window. That you really end up with really surprises. Like they could have gone full blown.
I mean, they could have got him, obviously, but it just never felt like an Arsenal type of deal to it. Just never felt like, there's certain deals we feel this is.
I know, yeah.
Didn't feel like it. But I mean, just on that note, the last a previous forward that went from Fiorentina to Juventus, the great Roberto Baggio. And well, that didn't turn out so well for him. So I mean, we'll see what happens with Dusan Vlahovic and how that one turns out. We'll move on though. There's more things to talk about. Saahil, speaking of forwards, Luis Diaz. And this was a link that was last week made to Spurs that Luis Diaz were interested. A couple of days later, Liverpool are interested. One day later, Liverpool have made a bid that's been accepted, and another day, there we are. It's that's how proper football clubs work done. I mean, Luis Diaz, fantastic player from Porto. Again, 40 million euros plus 20 million euros in add-ons, and then that's like so it's a big deal again for Liverpool, and looks like they're spending money as well because they want to get back in that probably in that Champions League hunt.
Yeah, this looks like a typical Liverpool deal. Reminds me of the Diogo Jota deal. Like you didn't see it coming, and then just like one day all of a sudden, you see that other guys were circling around, and next day you just see that Liverpool have put in a bid. The next day it's accepted and done. So it seems like he was probably someone that they have tracked for a bit. Liverpool seem to have a very sophisticated tracking system. I think they rely a lot on data. Michael Edwards, the guy who's there, he's probably spearheaded the whole campaign. So yeah, it looks like a very Klopp signing with a very high percentage of success, given that they really swooped in for him. So
yeah.
I guess they didn't expect Liverpool to sign anyone, but they seem like a club who don't miss out on players if they're available and they really want them. Like they seem to be very ruthless that way. If someone they really want is about to go off the market. So yeah, good for them. Haven't really watched him, but just like saw like a highlight video. I mean, everyone looks good on YouTube, but
his numbers are good. His stats are
good.
His
his numbers this season particularly are very good. Like, I think 14 goals in 18 games in the league this season. He's apparently like the replacement for James Rodriguez in the Colombia squad. From what I read. So yeah, promising signing. I think Everton were interested in the summer, but like Everton.
I think Liverpool was also interested in that. They had been tracking him for a long time. I think Klopp wanted him in this summer. What I read was like Klopp was really that he had his eyes on him, but then when Spurs kind of started pushing the.
Yeah, actually, my question how much of it was driven because Spurs went for him, and I think Liverpool going to miss out. How much?
I think it was complete because he had set his mind on Liverpool. I was reading and Fabrizio also in his channel said the fact that they had a pre kind of Klopp and Luis Diaz, the player, had spoken, and he had said that he's more interested in signing for Liverpool, and he was just waiting for Liverpool if they would come or not, because then and then of course they don't want to lose on players, and Spurs I think they knew this fact that Liverpool might kind of, and they pushed their hand there. So basically it's also strategic because these are summer signings and it's more like a long-term game where you're like pushing other clubs to play their hand, and then you kind of you look like a loser right now, but then eventually on summer you have a bigger window or options, like you kind of also know who's out there, who's not.
That's the kind of thing that somebody a certain person whose first name rhymes with dude and last name signs with Quard is I mean, the guy who that's the kind of thing that Manchester United would say, oh, it's okay, we let signings go because we can get someone else in the summer. No, I think that's the kind of justification that comes from someone like that. But anyway, speaking of signings, Saahil, Barcelona signing. I mean, this one was actually surprising. Ferran Torres going from Manchester City to Barcelona. We don't see players leaving Manchester City unless they want to. Is he surprised that he wants to go to Barcelona? I mean, I know.
I'm guessing this has to be the Xavi effect, because there's no other reason any player would want to jump ship from like a Pep Guardiola and Man City, which is like a trophy winning machine. I think Ferran was also getting more in the starting lineup, if I'm not wrong. Like at least he was making a claim. He's always been among the goals for Spain, so it seemed like a matter of time, because there was also the number 9 position, which I think he was best suited to if they ever wanted to play number 9. So very, very, very I guess surprising. But I guess Man City also made a big profit on him. They made like a 2.5 times for what they paid for him. So maybe it's probably the right price to sell him at. But
do they care about it? I mean, is it really matters at this point? I don't think the profit part matters. I mean, as
Yeah,
much
I
as
guess,
Pep might want to say it, Pep is going to say it, but it doesn't matter. I don't think City cares,
in my mind, how this deal happened was like Xavi called Pep and he's like, I want him, and he's like, okay, and they were like, fine, okay, take him.
Yeah, Xavi was like, I just want him. Go ahead. Yeah, okay, cool.
But yeah, for Man City to sell a player who's not a first 11 regular for 55 million is absolutely ridiculous. Like that just shows the kind of quality in that class, especially in those wing of forward roles.
I did feel that Ferran should have played more for City, though. I thought Ferran good. I think he offered something different. But I mean, who am I to say? They're still winning the league, and they probably
exactly.
They're probably going to do that this year. So who am I to say anything? But he did look like a quality player. I think.
So it sounds like a good buy for Barcelona. Even like if it doesn't matter what he was Man City, like he's still a good player, and he should be.
Not that surprising. Yeah. Anyway, if his name was English, if his name was not Ferran Torres, but maybe something like I don't know what's an English name for Ferran Torres, but if he was English, he would probably go for 65 or 70. That's the kind of player that he is.
But it was surprising for Barca also in a way that they also signed Traore, like Adama, in the last, like that was also surprising. I'm like, how are they getting these like loan deals as well? Like when nobody's even thinking about Barca has the money, and then they're signing. I'm like, how are you even?
I just wonder if somebody has an inside tap on Spurs line. Like it's like anytime Spurs pick up the phone and say, we want this player, and then the club goes, and other clubs go, oh, Spurs want this player. We didn't know about that. Let's go buy him. It's like, Juventus, do that with Vladivich. Who is that?
Diaz.
I've done that. Liverpool have done that now. I mean, it's just funny, isn't it? But speaking of which, Adama Traore, I mean, coming on that signing, it's a very un-Barcelona like signing. I know he was a Barcelona youth player, but it's a very un-Barca like signing, isn't it? Because he's not. I mean, to be fair, his end product is really bad. But he's got other skills, obviously. But just not the kind of player that you would want.
That was surprising to me. I really don't get the system. Like what Xavi is expecting out of him. Is he kind of because. Like, is he like, okay, I really don't see that picture. Like, okay, Traore is running on the right, and then how are you linking this up? Unless you have something that he's running to the center in a way. I really don't see it. It's surprising, but it almost feels like they were like, okay, who can we get? We don't have to convince much, and he's not getting game time already in Wolves, and he's ex-Barca, so it kind of, in a way, works. I don't know how this is going to be, but this was surprising. So that also came out of like, as you said, Spurs calling and be like, oh, he's available. Oh, let Barca kind of pick him up or something like that. I really don't see how he fits there, but
what is interesting though is the second sign. They also signed Aubameyang. That's closing in. It's not official yet, but it is happening. It looks like it's going to happen. Aubameyang going there. So maybe now you've got Aubameyang and Ferran Torres to convert the crosses that Adama puts into the box. Like maybe they'll play 3-5-2. I've not watched Barcelona. I don't pretend to watch them. Maybe that is the plan. But Aubameyang, that's a surprising deal because again, people don't go from Arsenal to Barcelona at the end of their careers, but this is happening as well. Saahil.
I'm really cautious. I really don't think that might happen eventually. It might be it might just change. Even Juventus, I think, is on play for Juventus is talking about Aubameyang. But I'm just.
Didn't they just sign one? They just need another striker now. Oh.
I think that they're looking at because if they don't want, again, it's like new player.
Yeah,
no. Yeah. But
Saahil, what do you make of this deal? Aubameyang to Barcelona? Do you think that's
Aubameyang seems in a very not in the correct state of mind right now. Like he's been having disciplinary issues at Arsenal. And it seemed like AFCON was going to be his break from Arsenal, but he had more discipline issues at AFCON. I think he was caught partying in Dubai, and then he was sent back because he got
With
fired. And then
Mhm.
there was again like a he said she said kind of a thing between him and the and his country's FA. So he came back. He's not been picked for the Dubai training camp, I think. So
Mhm.
he's still back in Arsenal. So he definitely needs a way out, but you would have to think whether Barcelona is the best environment to go to, especially given that there's so much pressure over there from the fans. And you have to also wonder how Barcelona are going to pay his wages, which again increases the pressure from the fans because he's probably going to be one of the highest paid players. Arsenal is like a very ridiculous deal where they pay
Yeah.
most of Aubameyang's wages, like how we did with Nani when he went on loan, like all those years back. But but I haven't seen like Aubameyang play well in a long time. I think his goals record has been off since he signed the deal, which is like what almost like been a year and a half.
Yeah. Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I think the major question is 350,000 euros per week that he
yeah, it's
earns,
ridiculous. Yeah,
and he's 18 months on his contract.
and
It's like,
also going back to Adama Traore, his best season came when Jimenez was on full form. So a proper number 9 to play with him, which I don't think Barcelona have right now. And so he would probably need to adapt his role, and he doesn't seem very quick to take into coaching instructions because I think a lot of coaches have mentioned that really had to be like coached and trained to get to like on same wavelengths as his teammates. So yeah, like a very intricate transfer. But if he's on form, I think Adama can easily bully over the La Liga defenders who aren't that physical anymore.
Yeah, and well, obviously the baby oil prices will be going up. Although I'm probably buying a bulk deal of baby
Yeah,
oil. I don't know, get one.
really fun player to watch though. I really like to watch him play.
Yeah, it's an interesting player. I mean, if you're hearing sounds and noise of from that, those are notifications on my Facebook page because I am getting transferred. We're keeping all Facebook, Twitter, everything open. We're trying to see what's happening out there. And speaking of Barcelona, because we're talking about where they're getting the money from. Here's where they're getting the money from. Usman Dembele. This news is gathering pace. He's apparently there's a lot of talks now for him going to Manchester United, and well, we know why that's happening. But I mean, this is again, it's not worked out. I mean, we'll talk both sides. If he'll suffer the Barcelona side, if it a deal that never worked out for him, probably because he came under too much pressure to replace Neymar. I don't know what happened there, but it just never worked out. But they want to offload him, and then I mean, they just need to find a sucker, I guess, who can take them off their hands.
yeah, it's a typical kind of signing gone wrong, and there are a lot of examples, but he was just too, like, because he was also they're kind of filling in Neymar, the money they got. They spent a lot of money on him as well,
Mhm.
getting him out, Usman Dembele, and he had a good patch, but I think he never hit a kind of a long one, like gone on a really long run of scoring goals or kind of doing amazing things that were expected out of him. It could be pressure, it could be also the injuries that he has had during his career at Barca. It's not, and also Barca going through this tumultuous time. I think the way everything at the club is right now, it just feels like the walls were shaking, and Messi leaving and everything, the financial, he's a player eventually. He's not that, he's young, but then again, there are too many expectations. So and also the fact that he's not kind of the La Masia player. Xavi would want somebody to kind of who understands how that the mentality is. So I think the Ferran Torres deal was like because of that. And but Usman Dembele is like more, he will be like, okay, I need to play so that I can prove it to you. But then how many opportunities do you want to give him? He's had his lot. I don't think they'll still be able to offload him because if you
Yeah, I just got a
see, there's
notification that report is false apparently. Well, we don't
false.
know. We
So
don't know what's happening. It's false, but they still want to let him go. I mean, that's the
yeah, they want to let him go, exactly, and they
actually
should let him go.
I mean, if they are planning to play a 3-4-3 or 3-5-2, if you've got Adama Traore, then where do you see him fit in? Because he doesn't fit in.
No,
You've got Luke De
no.
Jong, you've got Memphis Depay, you've got Aubameyang, you've got now Ferran Torres, you've got Fati as well. So you've got players. I don't think he fits in.
But I don't get it. Like, how do clubs put a deadline and basically, we are going to sell you by end of this month? I'm like, is it like a house on rent or kind of selling a house?
Well, this is the agent, right? Go and find a club. Go and find a sucker for us willing to pay for you.
No, but exactly. So
Right,
if even if they don't find him, he still is on their wages, right? It's not that they won't pay his wages.
Yeah, I mean, it's true, but they try to offload. I mean, I don't know how it works, but
There was also there was talk of Barcelona leaving him out of the La Liga squad for the rest of the season, but that was gonna invite some legal trouble because they only can't do that because like
they can't do that. He's on contract. Yeah.
No, I don't think they can break the contract. Speaking of Saahil, do you think the deal will happen? United Dembele, do you think? I mean, it's the kind of deal United would do.
Yeah, that's why I think it'll
if
happen.
there's any kind of deal, United will do any kind of deal if they can get some grub out of it. But do you think it will happen? Do you think United that's stupid to do it?
I think so because he seems to be only right wing player available in the market, readily available. Again, like you said, United are also like sort of chase high profile players. They don't really like go for like the really niche ones. Like they wouldn't have gone for Luis Diaz, right? If he was a right wing player instead of a left wing player, they would still probably go for Usman Dembele. So I think it will go through. I think it's also kind of like a panic-driven buy, given like because of the circumstances we discussed at the start.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think the club was probably made aware that like something might happen. So
even with the Greenwood
I'm just
thing,
guessing. I'm not really sure about it.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it could happen. But the thing with me is, I was thinking even with Greenwood in the side, and he's not going to be in the side for a while now. He isn't a right winger. Actually, United have right wingers now. They've got Marcus Rashford, who looks very good on the right. I don't know why they play him on the left because he's much better on the right.
Yeah.
Sancho is a right winger who gets played on the. I don't know what his obsession is playing them on the left, but they're very good. So you've got two good right wingers. You've got Elanga, who's good on the left now, obviously, and you've got I mean, you had Martial and you had Greenwood, but they're both gone. So they might need a left finger, if anything. They might need a left finger, but Pogba might play there once he comes back. Play him there. So you do have that option. And then, you've got a few other players in the youth academy, I guess you can step up. So they don't really need a right winger as such. They really don't, to be honest. But anyway, I don't know. Who knows what...
I mean, I think Rashford's also had has had a dreadful run of games on the right wing. I think he was played under... I think it was under Solskjaer only, right? Like he was playing on the right wing, or was it like early under Rangnick that, and he was not doing well at all, and people.
He did play on the right last season a few times.
Yeah.
I think he wasn't that good, but the last 2 or 3 games he's played on the right, he just looks better.
Yeah. Because I guess we probably want to give it a little more time before we decide that he's good on the right, because he's also come on as subs, right?
I know. I just looking at the way he plays on the left and looking at the way he plays on the right. For me, I just feel like he's better on the right because he's always looking to shoot. He actually is very creative. I don't want to get into a discussion with Rashford, but he's actually very creative. He just doesn't want to be creative. I don't know what is it in his head that he wants to shoot every time. So if he wants to shoot every time, it's better for him to be on the right because he's got a better angle of shots as opposed to keeping on cutting inside every time. So I just feel he's better on the right. But anyway, I don't know. I digress there. We'll talk about United in a bit.
I think the only player who's happy that who we might be missing right now is James. And they were like, oh, why did we sell him to Leeds? But then,
Dan James. Well, I mean, they made a profit off of him. He needed. Again, another player who's better on the left than on the right, to be honest. Like to cut in, but anyway,
Jesse Lingard might get a run in though.
I forgot about Jesse Lingard. Oh god. Oh god.
How can you forget him?
We'll come back to the end. No, I didn't forget about him. I just god. Okay, I kind of blocked that thing out of mind because I don't want to talk about it. But anyway, we'll talk about it. Speaking of Manchester United, speaking of signings, Julian Alvarez goes to Manchester City, linked with United at the start of the transfer window. I think his agent managers got it wrong. Manchester had been saying Manchester City all along, and they say Manchester United. Maybe, I don't know. But he goes to Manchester City. I mean, again, simple deal to do. Release clause paid. It's all done. He's going to spend the rest of the season on loan at River Plate, though. So he's not going to come to the side right away. But again, City, Saahil just doing the stuff that they need to do, getting deals across the line, keeping strengthening.
Yes, Again, I haven't seen Julian Alvarez play ever, but I would think like at least on the numbers, he seems like a top-rated prospect.
He's a 78 rated player on FIFA, but he's so,
you want to look at the potential. There was a potential. That's the.
I think for a 78 player 21, it's probably not going to be more than 87, 88 potential.
Yeah, probably, but probably like something they scouted in South America for a while, so swooped in at the correct time. Again, like. So that he might be off the market. So Yeah, I think half a season away from here should be good for him. He gets a whole preseason, and then let's see if they actually change the approach for him. Because currently they aren't really playing with the striker. We all know they're doing very well without it. They don't need one, but let's see. It also depends if it actually affects any Haaland transfer. I don't think so. I don't think like City are afraid of stockpiling quality players, so they would still probably go out with Haaland if they want to. But
Yeah.
interesting stuff. Oh, good for them. Could be.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he is set as the next Sergio Aguero, so it makes sense that he should go to Manchester City and not Manchester United. Listen, I don't think South American players do well at United. I can't remember. I mean, how many South American players have actually done?
Just Edison Cavani in my memory. That's it.
Cavani, yeah,
Forlan.
maybe for a year.
Forlan as well.
Not that good. I mean, his numbers were bad.
No.
His numbers were
No,
bad.
yeah, but then
He
that's
did well
where
later in his career.
Yeah.
When he was with Real, but
Him and Rabia, Cavani and Rafael. This is it.
and even Rafael, I mean, he probably had one good season, maybe two good.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they do well. I mean, well, right now, we forgot about our star Fred in the middle there. Said, oh my god. Anyway, all right. We'll move on with that because we're trolling here. That's a wonderful again. Julian Rice signed. Haaland actually will be an interesting deal. There was rumors that he might go in January. I don't think that was ever going to happen though. But will be interesting to see the race for him in the summer and who needs what and how that's going to happen. But speaking now, we've kind of spoken a little. Actually, one more deal that's come through. Dennis Zakaria to Juventus. I mean, it's all these hits, isn't it? And all these names that keep getting linked to certain clubs and then they end up elsewhere. €5 million deal. Pretty simple deal to do. His contract was expiring at the end of the summer, so no brainer that they want to sign him. Zakaria signed because that now moves another deal forward, which we'll talk about right after this one. But yeah, good signing for Juventus. Dennis Zakaria.
I think it's again kind of pushing the button. They needed to offload 2 players for Spurs, and Bentancur was one, and Kulusevski, I guess. Kulusevski. I think that there are 2 players. Yeah. Kulusevski, and so they had to kind of get somebody, and he's a good deal because he's again been on a radar for a lot of Premier League clubs, Zakaria. But again, it's like they would have waited till summer to get him just to see how many people they can offload. The problem with Premier League clubs right now is that they have too many players on their wages, so they need to offload a really big number to kind of come to kind of agreement with new players and stuff. Otherwise, they just kind of implode. So I think Zakaria is a good deal. He's going to be very interesting to watch as well because it's straight deal, and so again a new partnership in a way with Vladivich, and so this is going to be Juventus is basically kind of, I think, again building up to the Champions League that they want to win. That they've hoped with Ronaldo, Cristiano, but then that didn't happen. But they're kind of, and that's a good sign in a way, I would say. Like they're not giving up. They're slowly building up, and because the big thing obviously with Juventus is what happens with Dybala. They've not decided on his contract because it was like almost they're going to sign him. The deal was right on the table, and then suddenly Juventus pulled out. They were like, okay, we're not offering you an extension, and it again kind of goes in a frenzy because he's out of a contract in summer. He's a free agent. Dybala. So that's going to be very interesting to watch as well from my perspective, at least on the Juventus side of it. But Zakaria is a good signing. They're building up, so it's great.
Yeah, they have a decent midfield now again because they're also getting rid of Ramsey. I don't know about the situation with Rabiot is, but he also wants to leave. So I mean, they've got a decent midfield now. If you think of Locatelli, Zakaria, that's a good decent midfield. Maybe a third one. I don't know who. They have Western. I'm sorry.
Arthur.
Arthur as well. Yeah,
he's decided.
Yeah, he's been as well. And they have Weston McKennie as well, who can sometimes.
Yeah, and they've had a Chiesa. He's more on the striker, but then he's injured. Yeah, well, he's injured so for the season.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I was talking more about the midfield because they do have some good options now there. So I guess it makes sense, to look at probably offloading a few players like Kulusevski and all that. So, but anyway, we'll now come to the Premier League. It's nice you're talking a little bit outside of covering a bit of Europe stuff. But now we'll talk about the good stuff. The Premier League. We'll start with Spurs. Kulusevski deal is coming close. That's likely to happen. It's not official yet, but it's actually not. I think it is a year we go from Fabrizio Romano. We haven't heard anything yet, but I do believe that that one is more or less done. And then of course the other one is Bentancur. I don't know how you pronounce that one. Bentancur, I think. Bentancur. Also almost done. Both those deals happening. So Spurs, Saahil had picked up a few L's at the start, but looks like they're getting their business now in order. Conte is going to stay at least for another month or two at Spurs.
Yeah. Like I think this is has been expected from Fabio Paratici. He's known for like being very shuffly in his options. Like if someone goes away, like he tries to like look for backup options right away. So I think it kind of like kicked out a merry-go-round around Europe because they offloaded Ndombele and signed
Mhm.
I guess that's the effective replacement. So I guess like Spurs are probably moving towards a more workhorse midfield where everyone has to put in their work. Ndombele definitely wasn't cut out for that. At least like not at that point, he wasn't ready for it. And I
Mhm.
years in the Premier League, he hasn't really worked on his work ethic on the pitch. So and I don't think Conte would buy that from any of his players. He needs like full commitment towards working for the team. So yeah, I guess like if you look at all the midfield options that Spurs have right now, they all seem to be like more defensive minded and not like flair attacking players, except for like Lo Celso, who again they're trying to offload, and also Dele Alli, who they're trying to offload. So
Mhm.
probably like Conte probably asked for and wanted to get an order. Uh, but yeah, Kulusevski, I think he was Young Player of the Year in Serie A 2 years ago. Then he moved to Juventus. I'm not sure if he was, but I think he was among the nominees, if I'm not wrong.
Yep.
Really worked for him. I think a lot of managerial changes. One of the season probably went in accommodating Ronaldo, so he probably wasn't at the he probably like couldn't really
Yeah.
as well as he probably did, because I think that a lot happens to a lot of things with Ronaldo in them, especially because of the increased work rate.
Mhm.
I think this season, Allegri hasn't really gotten a click out of his attacking players, so probably wanted to change. Conte should be good for him because Conte, like whenever a player from Serie A comes to the Premier League, I just like think of Marcos Alonso, who like took out of like nowhere and like made him an absolute star. So I really have high hopes. Kulusevski is a known quality. He's not a complete unknown like how at least to me Alonso was. So even though different positions, but still should be good to watch.
Yeah. So the Kulusevski deal is a straight buy, 19 million euros plus 6 million in add-on. The Bentancur deal is a loan deal, 18-month loan, but there is a buy clause. So it will get triggered, I guess, based on appearances or things like that. That will get
Yeah.
triggered. So it's interesting how people find a way to work around these
Yeah.
with everything else. So, but anyway, those are the two deals that are happening. Can I just touch on the outgoings? And Ndombele probably
Yeah.
might move to Lyon. Lyon actually wanted Lo Celso, but Lo Celso wants to go to Villarreal, so he's probably waiting for that move to happen. So those are the two. I mean, and then of course they still want to get rid of Dele Alli. So I mean, outgoings. Aside, actually touched a very good point there. Actually, the flair players are kind of being taken out of the team.
Yeah.
With the low work rate, they're getting high work rate players. I mean, Ndombele came with a lot of fanfare. Actually, he was part of the front squad, not anymore. But it hasn't worked out for him. Same with Dele Alli. I mean, once upon a time touted as the great white hope of English football, perhaps. Then now not anywhere. Lo Celso as well. Was linked with United before he went to Spurs. So three players
See,
within.
all these players were like really, like that's the thing. Like these are, you can now enforce, in hindsight, basically say they were bad transfers. But when they came in, they were like, oh, Dele Alli was like, under the previous coach that they had, who got them, Pochettino. He was good. He had his good moments, but then you need to work to really need to work. And like the Premier League, the standard of the Premier League have kind of risen to like Fabinho, the work rate of Fabinho and Henderson as compared to what Dele Alli and Ndombele do. There is no comparison. So
Mhm.
that's what Conte wants. That's exactly how he wants this to kind of work, in order to for his team to kind of Spurs to at least come to a level to kind of think about trophies or whatever. Like even just a trophy is still far because they've not won, but then it's like it's still kind of come to a good standard. So Ndombele, Dele Alli were like, they make sense because when you're looking. So when you're watching Spurs play and you see the sign go up for Dele Alli to come in or Ndombele to come in, you're basically saying you really can't expect anything out of them. That's your expect. You're not setting any expectation. You're basically saying, okay, they're coming in. We're just hoping they don't mess it up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of those. And Conte, Conte is a very different manager. I think that's one of the reasons why Manchester United also didn't go for him, because they were like, oh no, we can't. Half our squad will just lose. But anyway, half our squad will just leave. But anyway, but then Patrici, the finally Levy and that kind of somebody to push Levy in a way that
Mhm.
okay, I don't want this, I want this, and I will do everything. So as Sal also mentioned, that there's always a backup plan from Patrici. Already always has and he's going back to his old club to kind of poach in a way. He's basically gone to Juventus. Really, okay. I know these people are not happy. I'll get them out of here, and we have our backup. But these, I don't really know how Tanguy and Ndombele will do at Lyon if he goes there.
I
These
believe
are
he came from
generally,
Leon, right? I think he came from Leon, so he's going back to his
yeah,
old.
but
Yeah.
but then again, it's like kind of going back to again, like, but you've had, and you know, it's like you went to kind of be the big one, but then you really didn't, and then you really belonged here only. So you know, you always feel a little, you know, you
Yeah,
couldn't
of
make
course.
it to the big league in that sense. So
Yeah.
he's going to settle well in with Lyon. He's came from there, but Dele Alli is going to be very interesting where he goes and how he can. It could, because I really don't think him going out of Premier League. I don't think he will kind of, you know, I won't say survive, but then I don't see that happening. They're also looking at a loan deal for Brian Gill, I guess.
Yeah, Brian Gill just
Uh,
with Valencia, that's happening. I mean, that's
yeah,
it's a one of those young players. He hasn't played a lot anyway.
exactly.
He needs to go out on loan as well.
So Spurs are looking at kind of offloading and kind of and kind of rebooting themselves. The
Yeah.
good thing about this, so I think this January window in a way is going to be very more active than we've seen, because you know, I think people are like, okay, we really need to know how summer, what we need to kind of look at summer. So that I think there's again a tactic to just try stuff.
Yeah, I just feel that with the whole cup tie, I think not being a factor anymore, because before earlier players used to be cup tied, so you always wanted to buy players that were not cup tied, so that made it difficult for players to move. But now I think with that removed, I think people can buy players, and it was very common for players to come in mid-season a long time ago.
Yeah.
So, it's not of the unknowns, but yes, I mean the business can be done, things can be done, and looks like Spurs are doing it. They're doing very well at that as well. Speaking of teams doing well, Newcastle, I mean, in the relegation zone, but fighting hard to get out of it. I mean, this is a big season for Newcastle, because I don't see them as being, too much of, I don't see it as being much of a problem even if they get relegated, because they'll just bounce straight back up, but it might put their project back by 2 years. But they're doing some big business. The Saahil, they signed Bruno Guimaraes, someone who's very highly rated. They've got him for a nice little. They've got Lewis Dunk. They've got, Lewis Dunk and Chris Wood signing seems a bit desperate, but they'll take what they can get. But there is a Bruno Guimaraes signing, so it shows that there's perhaps some plan there that the kind of
Maybe they would have waited and they would have got Dembele.
That might still happen. I mean, that maybe that's what Barcelona were thinking. Go and speak to Newcastle, get them to sign you.
Yeah, and a really solid window for Newcastle, I think, even if it doesn't get them ready for even if it doesn't help them survive the season, like it'll be a cakewalk to come back up, given that most of the players stay. I would be very surprised if like the new signings stay with them after being relegation. Like they are way above, like the championship is way above their quality. If you look at Kieran Trippier, who's like a large,
Trippier, yeah.
You look at Chris Wood's like a proven Premier League striker. He scores like 10 goals every season. Guimaraes was someone who's been talked about as someone who should have been signed by the top teams who need a midfielder, like someone like Man United or Arsenal. So Newcastle getting him is like a big coup for them. So I haven't watched him, but he seems like one of those deep line progressors, someone who like orchestrates sitting deep.
So I saw him for a bit, I guess, in the Lyon City game when he played. I think he started that one. He came on as somebody. He really did all right in that one. I think he's someone who's been very highly rated as well.
And I think he's also not young, and I think he's like what, 24, 25, if I'm not wrong. Which is like a good age. It's
Jesse Lingard was young till he was 28, so
yeah,
a lot of time. But
it's a 4.5 year deal basically, so it's kind of it sets them up as well. But Saahil brings a very good point. I would say, like, what happens to Newcastle if they get relegated? Like, what these big signings if they get relegated, because they are poaching from relegation clubs as well. In a way, they got from Burnley, they got Chris Wood, and so Burnley really had to go deep to kind of some place in Germany to find a striker. And they did, but then it's again, what happens to these big signings? Because the good thing is, like, Newcastle has the money, so they don't have to worry about it. It's not about, okay, we go to championship and then how do we pay these wages? But then it kind of this is going to be very interesting. And also, if we're just kind of presuming that they don't kind of stick into the they don't kind of save themselves by the end of the season, which will be really, which is high on probability, but I will not be surprised even if Eddie Howe does a magic and kind of or the team starts clicking in a way and starts to get some points.
I think they will. I think they will survive relegation, not only because they're have some good players, but I think I do feel that Burnley are destined to go down. It just does not look like they're going to stay up there. I don't know where they're getting the goals from. They might get points here and there, but they just don't look like they're going to score goals.
Burnley also signed a winger along with the German striker, the striker from Germany. They signed. I think he's a Dutch striker, but they signed a winger with him. So they completely revamped their front three, or like the
Yeah, well, they do have Maxwell Cornet as well, but
yeah. Corner's been doing well, and I
but
think his name is Orsic. I forgot what his name is, and the striker from Germany,
yeah.
the
Well, let's see.
really tall guy. Yeah.
In time for that. And then you've got Watford. I think they're kind of shooting themselves again in the foot, and they're going to go down because, and that's just Watford. That's just Watford things. It's like Watford and Norwich are like they switch places every year. They were Norwich and then Watford and Norwich and Watford. So then I guess Norwich that might be the other one. We'll see if they can survive. They seem to make a good fist of it, but we'll see if they can survive. So if there might be 3 teams that are worse than Newcastle, that might go down. But anyway, we'll see about that one. Let's go a little bit into the review preview sort of thing for deadline day. Saahil, do you see any signings for Arsenal or Chelsea? You think they're going to sign anyone? I mean, do they need to sign anyone?
Chelsea, I'm very surprised they haven't signed a left wing back player. Malang Sarr seems to be a solution for now, but not sure if that's viable, especially given that Chelsea's might be dragged in their top 4. This year seemed to be a lot better than the teams like chasing them, but like for their Champions League prospects, yeah, I think they need a left wing back, but it doesn't seem to be coming. Arsenal definitely need a midfielder, given the number of red cards they keep getting and the number of suspensions. But I don't think that's coming either.
There's a striker, though. They might need a striker.
Oh yeah, striker. There's a lot of talk of Alexander Isak. Like some people have been like, how Arsenal works, right? They've been Twitter. They saw someone with a car whose name plate was Isak. Then they saw that a car was bought in Jan 22. So it's all the they all the Twitter detectives are at work. But no, that's happening. It's only like 1 more day left. No concrete rumors, but
yeah.
I think
Chelsea also need to get their defense also sorted, because if you look at all of them are kind of out of contract in the summer. So are they basically saying this is what we're trying to kind of hold on to players first right now before we kind of sign them and then see how much money we have in a way? And then because again, they spent big for Lukaku last season or this season or last summer. And they've already, so is that kind of what like big budget, like was it 190% of their budget, 50%? I don't know how Roman Abramovich thinks about these things, but then it's more like also what Tuchel wants in that sense. He has been again, so like Ousmane Dembele is again a name which kind of gets thrown out because ex Borussia Dortmund, he's played with, he's coached him in a way, and he did speak about him as well, and so you don't really know how this might end, and where Chelsea kind of also looks at strengthening their squad. Their defense is where, as Saahil said, I think defense is where they kind of again look to kind of with Chilwell and out and James out, so they might, but then it's too late for a deadline day, but it's never too late in a deadline day. So, they can't, I won't be surprised if they kind of come in with 1 or 2, but I won't also be surprised if they just kind of keep low and just kind of wait till summer.
Yeah, there's nothing on the news feed at the moment for Chelsea or Arsenal. So, but things like that, they can move quickly. If they really want to do something, they just need to, it's a matter of looking at what they have. So, and we'll keep an eye on that. We'll see if something happens. And that brings me to the painful part of Manchester United now. I want to see that for the end because I'm like, well, maybe by the end we won't have a lot of time, so we can kind of skip to this or something. But so Anthony Martial has gone to Sevilla. Donny van de Beek now officially confirmed to Everton. That is now done. So you were surprised when Palace were in it for a long time, and then he decides, well, I want to go play with. He had a choice. Do I want to be Patrick Vieira, or do you want to be Frank Lampard? So do I want to be a box-to-box midfielder? Do I want to be a number 10? And I guess he chose I want to be a number 10. I want to be a goal-scoring midfielder. So he goes to, maybe that was probably not the decision, but he goes to Everton. We surprised it was Everton over Palace?
Yeah, I was, because Everton is so very chaotic. I think Everton, if there's a club worse than Man United in the Premier League, it is Everton. I don't think there's anything worse than Man United, but if there is, it's definitely. I think Everton have spent so much money. I don't know on what. Like, you look at the squad and you're like, where did all the money go? Like, on what did they spend on? But I really wanted him to go to Paris. I thought he would play as an 8 next to Conor Gallagher. That would have been fun to watch. Would have also prepared him in case if Ralph shifts or the next manager comes in and shifts to the more commonly used 4-3 with a 6 and 2 8, then Donny would have been kind of more used to it. I'm not sure what Lampard's going to play at Chelsea.
Sorry, 4-2-3-1.
Everton. Yeah, but I think it's some form of a 4-3-3. But yeah, I would have rather that Donny go to a more settled club, given that he's already been through a lot of upheaval, a lot of getting used to. So it would have been nice to see him go to a more secure environment for it.
I don't know if it was just the game time. I think everyone sucked. So Tony probably thought, I'll let you a chance to play games. Whereas he still has got, Conor Gallagher, he's got Schloop, he's got forget the name of the other guy.
But a lot of reports coming out about him not doing well physically, not being physically used to the Premier League. I really don't think a player who's dominated games at Champions League quarterfinal and semi-final level is lacking physically. That seems very
I don't know what I don't know. People keep coming up with stuff, right? We don't know that. So, but anyway, it'll be interesting to see what he does. I wonder where he will play in a 4-2-3-1, because if he plays as a number 10, I mean, he probably is going to, that's just going to be bad for him, because he's not going to break through against Bruno. So there's no point of him playing as a number 10. I hope he plays in that too, if it's going to be a 4-2-3-1, because that's really where he needs to prove. But anyway, we'll see what happens there. The good news, at least, is we won't have to worry about why is Donny not playing. I think we can kind of stop talking about 6 months at least. We don't have to worry about that. Can I, speaking of outgoings, Jesse Lingard, I mean, sorry, I've got this halls in my mouth now, trying to control myself, but Jesse Lingard, West Ham wanted him in the summer, say no, all right, we're going to keep him. Spurs wanted him, they say no, we're going to keep him. Now we come into January, Newcastle want him. United should be, and they're offering a loan fee, which is good. Now, this is a divisive part. Then the loan fee is fine, but they want a £12 million relegation clause. I mean, to say, and this is a divisive opinion. I don't know what your opinion about this is, so I'll ask you that first. But it just, to me, where do you see this deal going? Because right now, Newcastle is saying, "Screw you, we're not going to give you that."
I'm just waiting to actually see what Lingard actually thinks. If somebody can tell me, what does he really think about all, because I almost feel so we can compare how Donny van de Beek and Lingard in a very similar situation. They're warming the bench. They're hardly getting time. You kind of talk them both up. They're amazing. Ragnick talks some big players and stuff, but then they're not starting. Donny van de Beek gets a chance. He takes it and he pushes for it. Basically, I want to leave. I want to play. They're all thinking about the World Cup. So I'm just thinking, has Lingard already given up that thought? He's basically thinking, I'm not going to make that squad with Southgate. I'm more thinking on that point of how strategic is he playing to actually have a chance to play in the World Cup, to basically saying that if I leave Manchester United now, I will never have this big club or any big club get me. I will always kind of have a West Ham. I did great at West Ham, so I should go to a club which is smaller than Manchester United. But then why should I do that?
I mean,
so it's almost like that.
I mean, I do think, I mean, to be honest, I think he's checked out of United. Saahil, I don't know what you think, but I saw that game that he started in the Champions League. I've never seen a player look more disinterested playing the game like he did. It just looked like he was like, I'll do what I need to do in this game, but don't expect much out of me. I just feel he's checked out. But is it possible that United are blocking this move in some ways? I mean, why? I mean, it just feels like a ridiculous situation to me. That's the whole thing. But it just feels like United are like, oh, Lingard's going to go to Newcastle. He's going to make that big money, but we want some of that dough as well. So, pay up, right? I mean, it just feels like that sometimes. To me, I don't know what your opinion on that is.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw some reports that United are seeing Newcastle as a threat now, which is why they are trying to play hardball with them, or maybe because Newcastle seem to be there for the taking. But like Knayha said, a lot of these players trying to find moves in a World Cup year, especially given it's basically it's 1 year left for the World Cup, right? One whole season left for the World Cup if you give this a December World Cup. So this is what would happen ideally last summer. If it was a normal World Cup, that's when you see people pushing for moves. But it's a little weird in January because you have 1 month to negotiate. But I really think United is blocking it because it's a very weird, it's very hard to understand why United is doing it. It seems like they are trying to play I think there was this whole discussion where there was this whole thing first half of the season where teams were supposed to be hostile towards Newcastle because they were not happy with the takeover. So that seems to have carried on towards the transfer window, especially the big ones who are the traditional superpowers who are upset at new money being pumped to the league. But there seems to be a disconnect between the manager and the hierarchy, because it seems that Rangnick's already given Lingard his blessing. I think that's the word in the
Interesting. Yeah. So I
yeah.
told him you can go.
The
I
league.
don't need you.
Yeah. So and if the club's playing hardball and he doesn't go, then I think
Yeah.
one more player that Ranić doesn't need. But again, I think things changed in the last 24 hours. Might need him more. As long as the player and the manager are on good terms, I think Lingard still has a way back in the team. And but he's only started 2 games, right? When he was promised more. So it's very hard. Like I don't really know who to blame for this. Like I want to blame the club more than Lingard because
I believe it goes back to Solskjaer. I think I think Solskjaer, and this is something that I mean we could have a whole discussion about. I just feel like he was never ever like he always hated telling people that he wanted them to leave. He never liked them to leave. So yeah, I think he just told them that hey, I'll give you lots of games, don't worry. And then they got 25 million pounds for him, and then they didn't let him go. I think now the club are like, well, let's try and get a transfer fee out of a loan deal because it is a loan deal at the end of the day. It's not a transfer because Lingard doesn't want to go there permanently.
Yeah. I think he's also looking for the bumper sign-on fee in the summer, which is fair enough. It's probably his last big bumper contract he's gonna get. So he's probably trying to be a free agent for that.
Yeah. I don't think he wants to transfer there. I think and that maybe that's something that's on Lingard as well. If you really want to go, then you push for the transfer. But he's not doing that. He wants to go on a loan. So the United asked him a loan fee, but they want a transfer fee as well. So they give us 12 million pounds if Lingard helps you survive.
That's ridiculous, man.
I know nobody's gonna go for that. I mean,
never heard of that.
Newcastle not gonna go for that. That's a stupid thing, and I don't blame Newcastle for not taking it. So I think I do feel that United have overrated the fact that Newcastle need Lingard. I don't think Lingard is the kind of player that Newcastle desperately needs. I think there's enough players.
No, they don't. No.
So I mean,
it could, but I won't be surprised if tomorrow, like right in the last hours, we basically see that there are final talks happening. And there are final negotiations happening, and Lingard is leaving because I think that's also what happened with Lingard and when he went to West Ham.
I think he will leave. I just don't think that the terms as they are now are going to
be. They won't be agreed.
And then that depends on how much Lingard's appetite is for the move, how much for it, and how much United there. So anyway, Saahil, what's your percentage waiting for this deal happening? Let's just take it to a percentage. What do you think?
20% right now.
20%. Oh, okay. What do you think, Knayha?
I think it's 50. Because Newcastle, like United know Newcastle will come back with something, or they will say, okay, what do you really want? Let's start. 12 million is too much. What are you doing? People are getting new players for that much money, and so I think that this will at this moment 50%.
We'll take final comments on this 50%, 20%. I think that's probably fair. I think somewhere in the middle is probably where I am. But we'll take final comments on one last thing. Everybody knows United need a central midfielder. There's no news at the moment. Zakaria is gone. There's rumors of Kamara. I just feel that's like a smoke screen thing, Kamara. But I mean, if United don't sign a central midfielder, do you think that is a massive problem? Or do you think United will go, well, maybe we can get by without it? And again, this goes back to we talk about management all the time and how in the idiots that run the place, and I say idiots, but yeah, there's people who stupidly run the place. But it just do you see United signing a central midfielder? Do you think United need a central midfielder? And do you think what will happen if they don't sign one? I guess three questions.
I really don't think that's happening. I don't think they're signing anybody this January window.
Maybe that's what they'll sign.
I don't think that's but then on the midfield side I don't think it's going to happen because it again goes back to my like how this whole season has been. It's for United. I don't think Rangnick has had a time to kind of put a structure. Also change in management, upper management for United. This will take time. I don't think they're going to sign anybody. It's going to be a tough season. That's why United will have a very tough season post this. It's not going to be easy. It's just going to get tougher. We're just going to see a lot of more cracks, and with so much. And the only hope is like Pogba coming back with some inspiration and kind of really driving it. But I really don't see that. Also, in how long will that happen? But then McTominay is playing good. That's my. He's someone that I'm like. I've just suddenly the last couple of games he's like that's he has a spring in his step. Like what's got into him? So he's kind of matured in a way. But then I really don't see anybody coming there. It's going to be a tough season, and also the fact that who should they sign?
Who's available? I mean, that's the big question.
Yeah,
Who's
they
available?
had they were talking to Wolves. I think they were talking to Wolves for
The Neves?
Neves, yes, Neves as well. So again,
That
they
was
went.
that's
Yeah, but
that was a lie. That's not gonna
They
happen.
talk to Wolves every season for him, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know. Ruben Neves is the new Wesley Sneijder, I think. That's probably what he is becoming that. Sahil, but speaking to that point though, not signing a midfielder, I mean, it's like I don't know how to even put this. We all know that United need a midfielder. I mean, it's pretty obvious that they need one. Is it possible that they're saying we'll wait till the summer because I mean, this was a theory that came out that they don't want to buy anyone that the new manager may not like, but it's possible that they're playing a dangerous game here because if they don't sign someone, they may miss out on their goals, and then the new manager won't be able to sign them anyway. I do believe that the one they want is Declan Rice. I think that's who they want, and I just I can't even wrap my head around that, to be honest. But I don't know. What do you think in terms of that theory? Do you think that holds? Do you think that's even wise to do?
So recognize is definitely going to be a 100 million transfer. I don't see him being anything less than that. I don't know about you guys, but like I think West Ham are not going to budge. Given that we pay 80 million for Harry Maguire, there's no way we pay less than 100 for.
Well, just the fact of not signing anybody in January because they want to wait for the summer. This whole thing about let's wait.
Yeah. But I really thought that Haidara was going to come in. I think he seems like a Rangnick favorite. It made sense for him to like move. I think he's not like it was definitely a great for him. There was a spot for him. Rangnick knew where to use him, but that's out of the window. It's a very dangerous game. There's literally just two players who can play there. Fred, McTominay, and Matic if we can count.
I don't know if I want to see Fred in that stadium, to be honest. But yeah, no, I know what you mean though. Yeah.
So. But yeah, very, very concerning. I think this will definitely, like you said, it will definitely have an impact on our Champions League qualification hopes. Definitely will have an impact on how we do in Europe. But maybe it's because they want to give the new manager a clean slate to work on. But I don't think adding a new midfielder hurts at all, given that there's a lack of them anyway.
Yeah, I would say, you sign someone for 5 million like Zakaria. I mean, that's not a big deal. You just sign someone for 5 million. You can sell them for 5 million or 10 million, even if they're not that good for 6 months. You can still sell them if the manager doesn't want them. But I mean, I just feel it's like, yeah, this was this whole thing about, bankers and balance sheets, right? They need to pay 11 million pounds to the Glazers in dividend. And they have already paid, all these sacking fees, Carrick sacking fees, McKenna left. So they've done all of that. So, where's the money going to come from? It's going to come from not buying players. So, I think that's what it is. My final question for Knayha is a very, very small one. It's the last one. If Dembele goes to Manchester United, will he be happy or will he be sad? Because, he's a Barcelona fan and a United fan. So, would you be happy that Dembele is gone from Barcelona, or will you be happy that will you be sad that he's gone to United?
It all depends on which version do we get him there. Like, what version of him is there? Like, is he on a purely transfer note? I really don't know how to feel about it, to be frank. It could be that but it's like it's so unknown. Like, I'm just thinking, how will he kind of play? Where would he? What are you trying to do with him in that sense? Like, we know that we have Ronaldo on top. We are pretty much set with Sancho and Pogba coming in, and Rashford as well, and Bruno is there, McTominay, Fred. We have Telles, Varane, and Dalo as well. So and De Gea is there. So that's my squad. I'm just thinking, how do I what will I use Dembele for? And I don't see, again. Okay, are you saying he's a Martial replacement?
No, I think he's a Phil Jones replacement, because Phil Jones is going to Bordeaux, so somebody has to take the hospital bed, doesn't he? I think he's a Phil Jones replacement for the hospital. That's where he's going to be. I don't know. Anyway, I was just kidding. But speaking of which, Amad Diallo left as well, and he's banging in the goal with 1 goal against Rangers, 5 minutes in.
I also don't know the logic behind getting a injury-prone player to play in a high press system that Rangnick wants to play. Like, how does
I don't think that deal is happening, to be honest. I don't think Rangnick wants that deal. I don't think he wants it at all. The question is, are United going to push it on him because they want to make that?
To sell more shirts?
Sell more shirts. Yeah, he's a bit of a high-profile player. I mean, they might sell, because again, to be honest, if you've lost Diallo, and you've now lost Greenwood for a while, you really don't have a lot of wing options, and Martial as well. So
Martial, yeah,
on the wing as well now, because you've only got Rashford, Sancho, and Elanga, right? I mean, I don't think there's a fourth, unless you play Pogba there, but I don't think he's going to play Pogba there. So you've really only got 3 options. I don't think you've got a lot of wingers now. unless there's somebody in the youth system that I'm missing. But I don't think there's anybody coming through that is at the club right now, unless somebody knows someone. But I think those are the three options. They're still short on wingers right now, so they might need a fourth winger. And so maybe that's, it's like a panic buy option that they might press that button, go, let's buy him. But otherwise, I mean, well, there was a Colombian winger that was available, but Liverpool signed him because, we're so slow and fucking, whatever, and well, there was another Argentinian as well, but City took him up. So, yeah. But anyway, we'll see what happens. But anyway, we'll stop here because, I mean, if we keep going.
Just on a quick note, we just got in that Dan Burn has signed for Newcastle. So that's came through just now.
Dan Burn, that wasn't Lewis Dunk, it was Dan Burn. That's right. Dunk was a different guy.
Yes, 13 million. And they've accepted.
Dan Burn, yes, that was the one. Yes, that was what I thought about Lewis Dunk, but it was actually Dan Burn. So that was my mistake. I know somebody might have already put that in the comments by the time they did this part, but yes, it was Dan Burn and not Lewis Dunk. So yeah, Newcastle making some moves. And United also making some moves, but different kind of moves. But anyway, we'll see what happens. This is so much to talk about. It's actually kind of fun to talk about the transfer window, but we can't really, we've got to stop here. Deadline day tomorrow. We'll see what happens. And then there's something breaking. We might do a video after that. I might do a show after that just to see if there's any breaking deals. But I honestly don't think there's going to be too much surprises coming out. So we'll keep our eyes open and see what happens there. But thank you so much, Knayha. Thank you so much, Saahil, for joining me today for this show.
Thanks,
always great to have your insights and opinions on what's happening. By the way, the show is pre-recorded, so by the time this comes out, I don't know, something new might pop up, and we might all have to then come back again if the Dembele deal is accepted, or maybe United go and have made a big bid for Erling Haaland or something like that. That's not going to happen. Maybe they have. No, they probably haven't. But we'll see what happens there. Thank you so much, guys. If you did enjoy this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also share your comments. What are the transfer deals that you think you want to see happening, or if you think we missed out any big ones that you want to talk about, let us know. Always a great have a good day or night, whatever time you're watching this, and we'll see you again very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.